We have a long day today, so we're going to get this started right at 8 o'clock, just so everybody knows.
Rest of them.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all. I know I saw most of you on Friday, but again, it's great to see everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful time off, got some relaxation, some family time, and you guys are ready to roll for this new school year. So I want to introduce some new staff. There's two new staff members that are joining us. I hope they're here. Are your two new people here? Okay. Leslie, we only have one microphone, so sorry.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I wanted to introduce you to a new family support case manager. Her name is Selena Sertucci. Actually, I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Pronounce your last name. Sertucci. Thank you. I don't quite have the tongue roll. So please welcome her to our team. Good morning, everyone. I believe she is not here yet, but we do have a new teacher, Kayla Jones. And then we also have a new TA. She is not new to you guys, but she is new in her role, Adriana. But I also do not see Adriana. Yep. So yeah.
All right. Okay, what other celebrations do we have from this summer? I hear somebody got married. Ooh. Dominique, are there any other celebrations that anybody, this summer, something new, great? New babies, new grandbabies?
Sharon and I got my bachelor's in criminal justice and criminology.
Congratulations, that's wonderful. Anybody else? All right, well, we've got some other celebrations for our program. We are fully enrolled. Woo! Plus, we have a healthy 10%-ish wait list. So we're doing very well to start the year. That's awesome. I would also like to thank and I'd like to celebrate our managers, supervisors, and the staff that did work this summer. They worked super, super hard to get today, Wednesday, the whole week, all of you guys' training together. And without them, this program wouldn't exist. So let's give a round of applause to them, please. Okay, I wanted to go over, I know you guys have just come in. I'm hoping you got through most of your emails. And I know a lot of them came from Katie. And I don't know if you guys were able to stay up to date with them and really understand. Because at Katie's level, it's very, very top level. And what we do at Head Start, right, Katie cannot address that part. So what I want to let you guys know is everything is the same. Right now, one thing is the best thing about the whole situation is that we're here. And our program is still going forward, going strong, and funded. That is a huge celebration in itself. There are some executive orders that have been coming through, and they started in March. But one of them just came to the surface again, and it was the immigration. And so we all know that that could potentially affect us. I have got confirmation from Region 8, who is our Office of Head Start, that as of right now, our students that are enrolled are, I don't want to say safe, but we don't have to ask for their citizenship. And secondly, we don't have to ask the families or theirs. So anybody that is currently enrolled, we are great to go forward. Now, that could change, but as of right now, that's the direction we have. As stuff does change potentially and unfold, I will definitely let everybody know, and we'll just stay on top of that. You know, some of us, we might agree, some of us, we might disagree with these executive orders, but unfortunately, we all have to follow them because we are all, the biggest part of our grant is paid for by the federal government. So we just have to do what we can, and we're going to support our families as we can properly. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I have another announcement. So as you guys know, in February we had Alicia Chapman, and she was the deputy director. So like I shared with you, I believe it was on a 4 o'clock meeting that I report directly to her. So I'm just sharing with you that she put in her notice, so she found a great opportunity for her as of Friday. So she has left Adams County. And right now with the freeze, with the Human Services Employment Freeze, they're not going to hire that position, so I will be reporting directly to Cricket right now, which Alicia was reporting to Cricket and then to Katie. So now I just report directly to Cricket. Now this does not affect any of you guys. I just wanted to make sure if you start hearing things or, you know, something said, I want to make sure that I'm nipping that in the bud so nobody is, you know, wasting time talking about stuff like that. Does anybody have any questions in regards to that? Okay. So looking forward, although I know Head Start, you know, we were a little bit worried. I know I didn't let you guys know, but we were a little bit worried about what the executive order and what it was going to mean for us if we were actually going to be here now, right? There was a little bit of a questionable if we were part of the Health and Human Services, part of that budget. But we're here, so yay. The other great thing about that moving forward is the county is still moving forward with Greyhound, the Commerce City new facility. And so right now we're working, and right now projection is to open for the 26-27 school year. It'll move the Hanan Building Sunshine location, 2 of those classrooms over to the Greyhound, and then the other one classroom we're potentially looking to see if we could get a little bit more space at Northland, but again, that is still in the works. It's either that or put another classroom back into Little Star. But I'll keep you guys posted as the information comes down and approvals happen. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. All right, well, that was a lot of information. All right, so our trainings today. I know a lot of these trainings you're going to see and you're going to think, oh my gosh, again, every year we have to see people for free services. Every year it's mostly the same information. But I just want to share with you that you are correct. Every year, though, it's required. Annually, every year we have to hear this. Annually, we have to get a refresher. You already know if I ask you what you did 2 weeks ago, you might not quite remember. So it's already been a year since you've had these trainings. And so please, as we go through the trainings, be as open-minded as you can. Take the information in as a refresher. Everybody works hard on these presentations, and some of them might be a little bit dry. Most of my presentations are too, because it's either financial or something, governmental. But just keep your ears open, please. And I think we'll have a great day today, and then we'll all be back here Wednesday. So we'll have a lunch. It's from 11:30 to 12:30 today. We'll give you an hour, depending on, we might end our trainings a little bit early or end a little bit late. But needless to say, everybody will get that hour, and it'll be on your own. You could hang out here. You could go, over if you guys want to go into Brighton, or, your choice. But please make sure when we say the time to be back, that's the time that we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay? And one last thing. If we could all make sure that we are not on our computers or on our cell phones. I understand that at times, you could have an emergency, a family member call. Go ahead and step outside and take that call, take that, text that you need to take, but let's keep that all to a minimum. And just so you know, I do have a couple meetings that I have to take during here, so I won't be taking it outside of here, and some of the managers as well. So I just want to make sure you guys know that is what we're doing. So anyway, let's have a great pre-service, and we'll start with John and Maritza. Thanks, guys.
Hi. Welcome back. You guys had a relaxing summer. I think a few of us had a few weeks at least. Otherwise, kind of hard at trying to prepare
for the year for you guys to make sure everything's smooth. Our first presentation is a PDF on in-kind. And let me just give you the why first. For in-kind, that's the work that our families do for their kiddos and for our program. And when we report that in COPA, that actually turns into things that we really need in the program, because a certain percentage of our income has to come from those volunteer hours. So it's really vital. And as you guys know, being early child professionals, the more families can get involved in preschool, the more they get involved later on, which is really, really good for the family. So this is why we do this, because it's very important for the families to stay engaged and for us to track that, because our program needs it.
Yeah, sure.
We also have a new parent engagement SOP, where it's a collaborative effort between education and CMT. So you're going to see four of you guys working together to talk to the families, have them volunteer to participate in parent cafes. We'll give you guys an update on how parent cafes are changing. And then ACHS, our Health Services Advisory Board, all of that. There's more updates, which is going to promote more parent engagement, more volunteer, and also ways to track it.
So we're going to go just through the SOP. You all have access to the SOP on the G Drive, General Info, and then SOPs for this year. And this one is the month. If you can scroll up, the whole title is Monthly In-Kind and Volunteer. Oh, there's echo. You guys hear echo?
Yes.
I guess it's good for singers, but not so good for talkers. Echo.
Last time, so that means it can't report.
What's that?
Not you. We have to meet the last time.
Yeah, we have practiced at the Human Services Center, not realizing that. You see how far back that the laptop is. We couldn't get that plugged into the our owl. So.
It's double. Try that.
Everything okay? That's better. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Can you pull up the? Yeah.
I'll get back to that.
Thanks. Okay, so the four forms that we use, I know, exciting, right? Forms, woohoo, guys! Are the Helping My Child Learn and Grow form, which the team, the education team, has a new one. Specifically, Devin worked really hard on that, looks really great. The sign-in sheet for parent volunteers that happens when they come to the classroom, the community volunteer sign-in form, and then there's an in-kind form that I worked on for if parents or anybody else wants to donate something to us, like sometimes bicycles for the literacy festival and things like that. So we have four forms that we work on, and the first one we want to look at is the parent training sign-in form. That's another one. Okay. Can we scroll down a little bit? Okay, keep going. The Help My Child Learn and Grow form. And if you can, again, sorry about that. This Government Center and Human Services are so different, we kind of forgot about that. But if you scroll all the way down, I had attached the Help My Child Learn and Grow form all the way down to the very end, the two attachments. Keep on trucking. There it is. Oh, there it is. This is the new Help My, and up one because that's in Spanish. Well, we can do it in Spanish. Help My Child Learn. Oh, never mind. Where is it? Yeah, it's the second page. Oh, yeah, but it should be in English. Oh, it's English and Spanish. Okay, go ahead and go. There it is. Okay, sorry. It's in both. Sorry about that. So this is the new form for Help My Child Learn and Grow, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about it, except take a look at it.
Okay, so with the new Help and Child Learn and Grow things, Devin created this form, so thank you, Devin. I want to add something that changed. So we have LL for Landing Library, FL for Family Literacy, and OR for Other Reading. So we're not going to do Fred anymore. We haven't been doing Fred in quite a while sometime, and we're not tracking that. But we still want to track the parents' reading time. So it is going to be OR Other Reading. Another thing that I want to add is, team, if you guys can please remember that we do not track things like brushing teeth, changed clothes on my own, tied my shoelace, went to the park for an hour. All of those things we don't. We want to keep it education-based. So like traced my name, counted numbers, counted shapes. Those are the things that are tracking. So FSCM team, when you get these forms, if you get such a thing such as like, oh, woke up and brushed my teeth on my own, please cross it out. I'm going to start returning those forms because I do get quite a bit of forms that do have all of that unnecessary tracking that we have to do. So it's going to have to be crossed out. It's all education-based and all parent volunteer, what they're doing to help their child learn and grow. Okay.
Okay, and the question here, we're going to go through the SOP, but also just a question for you guys. Do you know who gives these forms to the parents? Who's we? The teachers, okay. Yeah, so the teachers give these to the parents to make sure you have them. For teachers, do you have just a pile that they can grab more of them, or how do you do that? How do you make sure the parents have access to this? You send one in their book? Okay. Are there other ways to make sure the parents always have access to these? Because I'm assuming it's not just September you give it to them and they have them for the whole year. Yeah.
I keep some by the sign-in sheet is where my Landing Library notebook is. Okay. So the parents can check them in and check them out. And so I have some extras there in case they need access to them. But then, like Diana said, we give them one every time they get it's filled once a month, or whenever the parent brings it, that's when they get another one.
Okay. So it sounds like there's many ways to make sure the parents have them, right? Putting them by the door is a good idea. That's some sort of thing where you do them regularly. That's a good idea too. Again, these things are really important for the parents to get into that rhythm of showing, this is what I'm doing for my kid at home, right? The more they can do that, the better. And who accepts them when the parents turn them in? The teaching staff, they do? Okay. And you sign them? Thank you.
And then give them to the FSCM.
That's right. You sign them, give them to the FSCM. Can you scroll down a little bit? At the bottom of this page is the places where we're signing them. Oh, there it is. The teacher initials and date, the ed soup and date, and ed soup. Okay. I guess they can check that too. In our SOP, we didn't have that they had suture doing it. But the teachers would give them the FSCMs, FSCMs to the family services supervisors, and then it moves on. And those have to go pretty quick. Has anybody recognized anything that kind of goes awry when we're trying to get these to to Becky, to our DSM, DMS? Anything that you recognize is kind of difficult? Yeah. Sometimes the signatures of the parents, they don't sign them. So what do you do? Give them back and sign it? Okay. Oh, or you could just have them sign it there. Oh, hey, can you just... Oh, okay. So that's a challenge we have to do. Yes.
Because I can't read half the parents.
Can we scroll back up for the parent to print their name? I think isn't there something at the time? Yeah. Parent name, parent signature. Yeah. So these things really have to be clear because Becky does enter those things in the COPA. So these processes going through many hands can be kind of difficult. I think you guys do really well. I think one aspect of it is that have you ever had parents turn something in like January from September or October, right? That's rough, right? So how do we address that? Really, we rely on you guys, the teaching staff, because you're the front line, you're talking with them all the time, helping them get into that rhythm of turning them in a timely way. Shannon, hi.
Can I ask for clarification, please? When a parent reads a book with their child, must they put the actual title of the book, or can they just put...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No,
Do they have to put the title of the book, or can they just put book? Maybe I can give this Maritza. What do you think? I mean, because one of them is for the lending library, right? We know what those are. The family literacy, the ones that we give out. And then OR is other reading.
Yeah, and it says title in there, so yeah.
So they would need to put the title where it says title.
So, and then my second thing, because this comes from my speech that I did my families, is I know it's a lot or maybe a little, but can you please ask all the parents to write the word read? Because if they put Finding Nemo, that's a book. You can listen to it, you can watch it. There's like many different versions of lots of titles, including some of the books that we hand out. They can be like watched on the internet instead of read.
So it looks like all of us, everyone that interacts with the parents, need to make sure that you can't just put something in there like Finding Nemo or something that might be a movie. They need to put read Finding Nemo. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that we can see that they read them. Yes?
My question around that is a lot of these books that we have in our teaching strategies goal are also ebooks that the parents have access to, where they can watch them and the words come up on the bottom. So they're not holding a book in their hand. They're listening to the story at the same time as they're with their child.
I think that's okay because it's literacy, right? It's a form of literacy, it's a form of engagement and some type of reading. So I think that's fine. It just needs to be title of what type of literacy they're doing.
Yeah, there's new styles of books. Thanks for bringing that up. The new styles of book where they're watching it, it's like a video, but the words come up, right? And the person is audio reading those words. So it's a new kind of book. We can say that's still reading. I think I said Dan?
Yeah, I was going to say, what if they send them in with pencils?
That's fine.
Pencil's fine. Okay. So again, like there are some struggles with getting those in time. These teaching staff are also good with parents. We actually lean on you to make sure those come in a good amount of time. There are some times where if they're turned in so late, we can't do anything with them. For one, we have to, by the 7th of every month, our dear Becky has to actually turn all of that in to our administrator and say, this is how many in-kind hours have been spent this month. And if something comes in 2 months later, we'll have to go back and update it and tell the policy council, oh, it's something new. So timeliness is really important. What we had put in here is 2 days between each. Like if you guys get them from the parent and then you turn them in to the FSCM looks at them, signs it. 2 days to the family services supervisor, 2 days to Becky. And so that's what our goal is. And we know there's challenges. Obviously, there's lots of challenges. So, but yeah, that's our hope. Yeah.
I'm
curious to know if we know why we do this, besides getting the in-kind. Why are we using this, and what does it provide?
Money.
Besides in-kind.
I think because it's very important to build relationships with the parents and the kids. So I think in the first home visit, we have to take a little more time, explain the parents everything, or sometimes after the home visit, because the parents always have questions. So
you're right. This is an opportunity for parents to be that teacher for their kiddos. It's really about building that relationship, building that bond, and just giving them that time together. That is the biggest reason why we have in-kind. Yes, it does give us a little bit of funding, but the big why is to provide that opportunity for them. And it is vital that when you guys are doing your initial home visits, you guys are explaining these things and running kind of down the form with the parents to fill it out, because it is easy for families to put that they brush teeth, things like that. So it is our responsibility to kind of teach them, teach them how to fill that out and giving them that reason of why and how it also supports our program. So really take the time to, it's very simple, but it's simple to us. It may not be simple to all of our families. Okay. Also too, I just wanted to just kind of look at the LL and family literacy, because the teachers are the ones who are aware that it's a lending library or family literacy book. Teachers just go ahead and check that and then give it off to whoever is next to initial those.
I have one question. Are we still giving out the books? Which is the reason I asked people to write the word read, because for so many number of minutes reading, it ends up being a book that families get to keep in their home library. Are we still doing that part?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of books in our storage that we do need to start giving to families. So yeah, we'll talk more when we have our meeting, because we are running out of time, but I did want to kind of touch base with the updates with the Parent Cafe. So before, with Parent Cafe, we would track that as parent training, but we are not doing that. It's parent volunteer time. So what we are changing, it's Parent Cafe is the parents governing board per center to be able to talk and kind of represent their centers. So we are moving these to once a month. And then we're adding the Health Services Advisory Board. So we are going to start doing that. We're going to start tracking them differently, and John can go over the forms and how different they look like and how we are going to start tracking them. FSCM team and health, when we meet, we'll kind of go over the updates of why that happened, why that's important, and all of that, okay?
Yeah, so it was like, that's clear. Parent cafes, we used to have trainings, and we used to count that as training. Now we're counting it as parent volunteer time. So we fill out the parent guardian volunteer form. That would be the same form you have when a parent comes into the classroom to volunteer, right? They sign in and they sign out. We haven't really changed much from one year to the next, so I don't know if we really have to go over it again, but it's the same one where the parents, as they arrive, they sign in, as they leave, they sign out. And we have to very clearly, as Becky mentioned, make sure that the printed name is there, because otherwise she doesn't know who it is or how to find them. So just being clear about that, the volunteer form used for that, both coming into the classroom and for Parent Cafe, since that is now parent volunteer. Okay, if we scroll down, the community volunteer form is the same basically as the parent volunteer form, but for community members, and that hasn't changed, so I'm not going to go through that. You guys have a chance, you can look at this at any time because it's an SOP and all those forms are attached. So if you keep going, scrolling down there. So the in-kind form, which is for donated goods and services, is now a digital form. That would be, let's see. The FSCMs are responsible for ensuring this in-kind form are available and centralized at each location. So let me go down to that. If you can scroll down to that one. It's a digital form. We can fill out and type in everything that the parent, a little further. And a little further. There it is, the in-kind form. So the contributor name is the parent or whoever contributes, the date and the title. The signature will be after you print it. We need their address and phone number, and then down below you can see where you put in the quantity and the services or goods that they do. We put the name of the ACHS staff receiving the in-kind, and then they would sign it later. Fill everything out except for those signature fields, and then when you print it out, you can sign it. That makes sense? We don't, how often do we get that? Does anybody ever get goods? Sometimes we get it at the HSC. Tanya?
I have a question for that. Can you give us a couple examples of goods we're allowed? Or sometimes parents will ask, like, do you guys need school supplies? You know, secretly we need like more tissues or more other stuff. Are we allowed to mention goods that we could receive? Or no, it's just like completely voluntary from their end? We're not allowed.
It's all volunteer. We can't be requesting items from parents. So if it comes from their heart that they want to help out, then yes. But we can't be asking like, hey, the teachers are needing tissues or we need Clorox wipes. No. So the parents have to.
Example of what we can accept, or what would be like.
I think about anything except food. I don't. But do you know, Gabby? What we can accept? We can't accept food at all because of allergies and CACP and all of that. So there's regulations behind that, but no food at all. No food, beverages.
Okay, so we, if you guys get parents or community members wanting to donate, go ahead and check with your supervisor first. Okay, now I'm going to go back to answering your question. So we want goods and services donated that we would use in the classroom. We don't need additional stuff to come into the classroom where then we're going to have to donate it. So anything that you could use in your classroom that somebody wants to donate, just be really careful. Please check with your supervisors with clothes or any kind of cloth type of material. You know, like we just don't want to bring additional, for lack of a better word, germs in. But anything else is fine. I was just thinking, if you guys do need tissues, if you guys do need gloves or whatever, just get with your supervisor because we do have funding for that. And that's very important. So don't feel nervous about asking if your classroom needs more tissues or they need something. You know, have that discussion with your supervisor. Tanya, did that answer your question? Okay, does anybody have anything else? I know, like Rebecca, I know I've seen a couple other stuff come in.
What about like consumable, like diapers? Like someone says, I potty train my child, like here's some pull-ups. They're fully potty trained, you guys need them. Is that something we can take?
That is something you can take, but before you take them in, please check with your supervisor. Okay? Anything else? All right, thanks, Martha.
Yeah, so we can always go back to the SOPs because some of it is a bit complex, but we can always refer back to this. As managers too, we have to go back to these. And the first sentence there says, supervisor approval is required before accepting donated goods. The supervisor will contact the FGA and administrator to determine needs. So before we take anything, just ask your supervisor and they can figure out whether we really need it. So appreciate our administrator reminding us of that. Okay, we'll scroll to the next one. Oh, that was it. Okay. Looks like that's it. Any questions on all this? I know it's a bit dry, but in reality, like the whole purpose of these things are to engage the parents, to make sure the things we need in our program are there and are done in a way that we can count them. Like I say, if things are really late, it doesn't quite work. So, yeah. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the disaster preparedness, and I'll be running most of this. Ron can talk about the process we have for making sure that it's safe. Each building is safe for the first person to announce that. Okay. So we have basically this is three things that we're going to be presenting on today: the internal emergency plan protocol, the building premises safety, and lost child. The Head Start Emergency Manual, we generally have made that available for you just about anywhere. Do you guys know exactly where they are in the centers? You've seen them before, right? In every classroom and every office as well. So we'll be distributing those so that you can have a look at those. Some of those things would be a little hard to, if there's a fire, like, oh, let's go over here and look at it. So many of these things have to be present in your mind, right? That if there's a real emergency that means you have to act fast, it's really good to have these things present in mind. So that's why we have fire drills, that's why I have lock-in, lock-out drills and tornado drills, to keep that present in your mind, because we do have very thorough descriptions of what you need to do in certain emergencies, but oftentimes you won't have the time to go here, right? So it's good to just kind of revisit it. It's both on the G Drive General Info, and it'll be in every classroom. So for licensing, they had asked us to cover each one of these things for each center. So if we think about electrical hazards on any center, I don't think there's anything specific in any center where there's an electrical hazard more than unless you all know of one. I know we always have wires kind of somewhat nearby, but I don't, when we did a recollection of each center, so where there might be a loose wire that would be very, very dangerous, I don't think we have anything like that. Just reiterating that if there is an electrical hazard and there's a loose wire, and should we grab it? Obviously not, right? If we grab somebody that's being shocked, that would be bad. So there's protocols we have in the emergency manual for dealing with that. Always be aware, you guys are the first line of defense. Always be aware if there is something that's an electrical hazard, you really need to keep kiddos away from that, and we have a whole protocol for it. For bodies of water, I was trying to think of these things that, as we know, how much water does it take for a young kiddo to drown? What do you think? Very little, right? So what do you think you should be aware of around your centers? Puddles, right? We think, oh, that's just a puddle, but you never know. If something happens and the kiddo passes out or something face down. So we have to be very aware after rain, anything like that, where there might be some standing water. So every center needs to be aware for puddles. There are a few centers like Creekside has that nearby pool. Of course, there's the big gates and fences there. The kiddos couldn't get in there, but that is a danger in case they could, right? What other center has a pool nearby? Is North Glen has that pool? I think they empty it pretty soon, but it's very good to be aware of those things. So I don't think there's any other pools around, but making sure we're aware of any standing water, because that can be very dangerous to kiddos. For vehicular traffic, each center has its own difficulties we have to address. For Brighton, I think of that ambulance in the back that you walk by to go to the playground. I haven't ever seen the ambulances coming in and out of there, but it's kind of a worrisome thing that there's parking back there. So you guys in Brighton have to be really aware of that vehicular traffic, as well as the parents as they drive through, right? So that's for Brighton. Anything else for Brighton you think of vehicle traffic that's a difficulty? Yes, please.
It's the ones from 27J. Yeah, the 27Js. Because the ones from 27J go very fast. Yeah.
The workers from 27J, are they parking back there or where?
Yeah, because they have an entrance for the emergency response in the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go very fast.
So that would be where we can support you in talking with them to say, we have a program here still. You may not, but we still do, right? Okay. Appreciate that. All right. We'll let them know. For Creekside, the parking traffic, and then Lipan Street is that busy one there. If you go to the further evacuation site, you have to walk along that kind of somewhat busy street, so we have to watch for that. For Little Star, the parking traffic and the food bag traffic, generally that happens towards the end of the day on a few days, but you really have to be aware of those too for Little Star. For North Glen, the parking traffic, obviously, and then Washington is an extremely busy street, and that's why we didn't have one of our regular evacuation sites over there near Washington, because it's 2 or 3 lanes, I think, in each way. It's quite busy. So we really have to be aware of that. And then Garland Street can get busy too. with the Walmart traffic and the school traffic. For Rainbow, the parking traffic and then Circle Drive is the busiest there. And for Sunshine, the parking traffic, 56th Avenue is another really busy street. You got to make sure the kiddos that you're aware of that one. If they got out in front, sometimes that would be really, really bad. And then for the food bank, a lot of people park in there. So you have to be aware. Are there any other traffic situations that you're aware of that we should add to this list? No? Okay. As far as storage of hazardous materials, for every site, of course, we have the chemicals that we use to clean that we keep either locked away or above, far enough above where the kiddos couldn't reach it. So we always store those cleaning supplies out of reach of children or in a locked cabinet, and then we refer to the emergency manual if there's a hazardous spill, and we can use the material safety data sheets. If there is a hazardous spill, do you clean it up yourself, or would you call Ron? That's an easy one. Call Ron. We would evacuate if there's a hazardous spill, and we would call our facilities. And finally, disposal of biological contaminants. This is covered in the standard precautions and exposure control, and it's universal throughout all the centers, so we won't cover that now. Any questions about these various hazards that might be at each center and how they apply differently, or how each center might have a different situation? Okay. Thank you. Next one. For our safety monitors, we changed the list here. I'll give you a second to look at these. We'll go over what the safety monitor does. But for each center, we have a primary monitor, and you can see all the alternates. So if you take a look at your center and see who is that primary monitor and who are all the alternates. So I might just go through one of these. Let's see, Creekside, Isela is our monitor. If she's not there, who would be the monitor? Alma. And if somehow Isela and Alma are gone, maybe they're up at Black Hawk, I don't know, just kidding. But if they were both gone, who would be the monitor? Maria. So if Isela, Alma, and Maria are all somehow skiing on a day, which they shouldn't be, oh no skiing, who would it be? It would be Christina. So we just be aware of these things of like who the monitor is. So if someone's gone, it comes to the next person. You need any more moments to see if you find your name in there?
Is that listed somewhere?
It's on the emergency manual. Yep. It might be good to post it because it's kind of hard to keep track of, right? I'm with you. Yep. Okay. Next. So what does the safety monitor do? Safety monitor, more than everyone else, is more aware of where the location for the meeting sites and the evacuation sites. The monitor brings the emergency to-go crates to the evacuation location. They're responsible for making sure they have the staff center sign in and volunteer sign in so that attendance can be taken. I would say this is one of the primary reasons why we have to have everybody sign into the center sign in, right? Is that if there was a real emergency and a fire and somebody got smoke inhalation, they passed out in their room and they're in danger, and they didn't sign in, we would evacuate, and this person, the monitor, would take that sign in and they'd say, oh, okay, well, no, John's not here, he didn't sign in. And then John's passed out and in danger. So all of us, as we come in and out of the centers, we must sign in. I mean, we drum that in, but we really need to do that. This is one of the reasons. The other reasons is that licensing and other auditors can come in, and if it's not that way, that can be serious trouble for us. So please pledge to sign in and out as you come in. It's just a habit to get in and when you're coming in and out the door. Right? So this is one of the reasons we do that. Let's see. So yeah, again, the safety monitor makes sure that the staff and visitors have evacuated the premises in the event of an evacuation. The safety monitor will share the center key with authorities upon arrival if need be, so they would need a key to the center. That's something we haven't emphasized before. Let me just stop for a second and ask, for the safety monitors last year, was it clear what your role is? Did you realize you were supposed to bring the student sign in and the visitor sign in? If not, we can reiterate this, and when we have our fire drills and other drills, we'll make sure that we check that as well. Because if it's something we're forgetting, that is a big kind of vacuum there that we need to fill to make sure that not only the kids are safe, but that any adult that came into the program is also safe. And let's see. If a staff or visitor is not at the evacuation site, the monitor will try to determine their whereabouts and share that information with authorities. So if it turns out that you see that someone is in there, Maria signed in, but she's not outside for some reason, you try to determine where they are. If they were taking a break in their car, that might be good to know rather than they're inside the building, right? We can really require you to do something that will cause you bodily harm to go back into a fiery building, right? But we do at least need to let you know that we need to determine where they are. So if the authorities come and you say, where is that person, we can answer them truthfully. Okay, next. So if we go through the Brighton locations, I really love maps. Hopefully this is clear enough, but our Brighton location is in that big building. It's on the left, right? You can see where the parents pull through. You can see where the Platte Valley ambulance services are. And I think it's the door there where that blue is probably where 27J enters, and they come in and out. Is that right? Okay. So good to know those things. So last year we discovered we need a third alternate evacuation site that's in a different direction. That one's only used if somehow we've determined that these other ones are not safe. So just keep in front of your mind that it's the fire and the gas bomb evacuation locations we would always use unless you determine those aren't safe. So if there's a fire and you start going in that direction and you see there's even a fire there, we can't go that direction. We can go the other direction. So you see the fire one there, it's just past the playground, and then the gas and bomb evacuation site is over by the elementary school there. And then the third one, which we only use in case, those other ones are not safe, are on the farther northeast corner of that parking lot over there. Okay. Next, the Creekside evacuation locations. For Creekside, we know these. We've done this before. The fire location is south and just actually south of Creekside on that little hill above the parking lot. The gas and bomb one, the safest one we could find that was far enough away, is over here by the Chancho with the Genoa Healthcare in that parking lot behind there. So you stay a bit away from Huron. And then the one we identified as the alternative is up a ways, and then you turn left on Gale Boulevard, and it's over there near that corner where people enter the parking lot into the apartment complex. Okay. Next. For Little Star, the fire evacuation, we can see that it's there in that Fred Valente Humanitarian Park. Even further south, the gas and bomb evacuation is back when where the Westminster Fire Station is. And then the other alternate is up there with the Orchard Court Primary School. It is a little bit of a ways away, but what we need is a location where it's easy to tell emergency responders and parents where that would be a pickup if we were there. You could say Orchard Court School, they could Google, they know exactly where it is. So it looks like it's pretty far, but as we measured, I think it's a quarter mile. But at least it's somewhere where it's a location that the parents and emergency responders would know. Okay, next. For North Glen, it's the same ones we had before, the fire evacuation location there, the gas one down by the school, the studio school. And this alternate one, we looked at that one as a possible evacuation location, to change it, but you see how close that is to the road. We were nervous about that, right? It takes just one kid to let go of a hand and run in there. So that's an alternate where we'd only use if the other two are not safe. Okay? For Rainbow, again, the fire evacuation location, you can see down here in the bottom left, is at the very corner of the parking lot, the bomb and gas location over at the apartment complex there. And then the alternative one is up there where that preschool is. I don't think the name of it was changed, so it would be walking on Circle Drive over to that preschool that happens to be on that corner there. So those are the evacuation locations for Rainbow. And Sunshine. These also haven't changed, but the fire evacuation location in the far northeast, the bomb and gas evacuation over there by the classic collision, and then the alternative is to go in this direction, a little patch of grass there. Okay, thank you. You'll see that in the emergency manual, at the end of any emergency, when it's safe to make sure that the management team knows what's going on so we can support. again, like you do what's safe. You make sure everyone's safe first. And then, when everyone's safe and you can let them know, please contact the center education supervisor, who then can contact the rest of the management team to support you. Okay. And there they are, beautiful pictures. Thank you. So bomb threat and fire in the building. Really, for both of them, we evacuate, right? We pull the fire alarm when we go for both a bomb and fire in the building. The teachers, of course, assure the students are accounted for. The safety monitor makes sure the staff and visitors are accounted for. And then once everyone's safe, who do we contact? The ed supervisors. Thank you. We just talked about. The only difference is for the fire in the building is you evacuate to that fire emergency location, and for bomb threat, when you recognize, oh, that's a bomb, don't go touch it. Don't try to be a hero. We just want you guys to be safe. Yeah. Oh, bomb. It looks nice. And then you go a little further away to the bomb and gas leak location, which is further away for obvious reasons. Okay. And then in the, I won't go really into depth, but in our emergency manual, it covers many things. If there's a power outage, if we need to evacuate, we can. If it's safer to stay inside, that's fine. We have a lot of flashlights. Ron bought us those really large ones. Everyone know where that is?
Yeah.
Where is that? Can you shout it out? Those big ones?
Oh, mine's in the bathroom.
Yours is in the bathroom?
Yeah. It is a magnet.
Okay, the big magnetic one, the square one? Okay. Yes.
As of last year, we did not.
Didn't have one. Okay. I think we all right. I also distribute ones that are those hand crank ones, which I really like. Do you have those? Okay. You don't have the really big one. Ron is taking notes. He's like, okay. We'll get you one. Very likely, we're always in session during the day where there's daylight hours, so it may not be we can often just kind of continue on opening shutters and so on, but it is good to have those big flashlights as well. If the little one is there and it works, that's fine too. It's good for us to cover our bases because that's a requirement of licensing. Electrical emergency, never touch a live wire. Don't be like my dad, who was an electrician and thought it was funny if I grabbed a live wire. We shouldn't touch that. Or even like I think the horse fences is the one he thought was funny, a dad thing. But for us, we want you to be safe, so if there is a live wire, stay far away from it, make sure the kids are away from it, evacuate from it. We've talked about this before. If there is a real gas leak, is that dangerous? It's extremely dangerous if there's a gas leak. There can be a big explosion. So if we determine that smell of natural gas is very clear, they add that odor to the gas, that we would get out. And we've had this discussion before that there are some smells that happen in preschool, and sometimes people might be saying, I think that's gas. It's not. If the education supervisor is there, we can have them determine whether it's a gas smell or not, or one that's dangerous. But it is something we take in seriously, because if there was a gas leak, we would need to leave. I don't think we have any gas actually operated appliances at any center, do we, Ron? We don't. So we don't. I think we're going to hook up the gas. So nonetheless, it's good to be aware of that. Hazardous materials, please evacuate, isolate the area. Don't attempt to clean up, and call our son Ron to come and clean that up. And then the danger of a trespassing. If somebody is trespassing, we ask them to leave, we keep a safe distance, we evacuate the children from that and call for help. And that would be very likely related to lockout or lockdown, which we'll go to in a bit. If somebody's trespassing on the playground, what's the obvious thing to do? Bring the kids inside. Everyone comes inside, and then we can call the authorities, right? If somebody's trespassing in the building, that might be another more serious thing that will relate to lockout or lockdown. Okay. For varied emergencies like kidnapping or unauthorized pickup, we have a lot of things in place to make sure somebody doesn't pick up a kiddo, right? That shouldn't. Don't say it out loud, but think of those things. What things do we have written to make sure that doesn't happen? What things does everyone in the center know? Right? A lot of things, right? So this should really never happen unless if somebody was forceful, that would be another situation. It's a little more difficult. But if it's somebody that is trying to pick up that shouldn't be, we have to be clear that they cannot. We came up with last year a few more protocols about the like if there's a found weapon in a backpack. What would you think would be important to keep in mind if you found a weapon in a backpack? Does it matter what kind of weapon? Yeah. No. I mean, everything's dangerous, right? Is there anything that's a bit more dangerous? When we were thinking this through, Ron and I and others, is that if there's a knife, there's not a knife in a backpack that might accidentally go off, right? So we can take that knife and we can lock it up, and then we would have to report that. If there's a gun in the backpack, that's a whole other story. That if that thing went off, people could be hurt or killed. So we treat that at a different level, where we would evacuate that. Same thing if there's a found weapon or inappropriate item on the premises. If you find it on the playground, something like that, if there's a gun on the playground, it would be good to stay away from everyone, go inside and call authorities, right? So if it's something else that may not be as dangerous, that might be a different story. We can isolate it and lock it up. And then we'll talk about our armed intruder. How would we keep safe? We can talk about that as we get into the lockdown. Okay, next. These are just what I just went through, actually. For the armed intruder, I guess we'll cover it now before we get to lockdown, but that's such a dangerous thing, and it's, speaking from the heart, it's a scary thing that this happens nowadays, right? So we really need to be aware of those things. If there's an armed intruder, we should comply with requests. That we should not attempt to disarm. Oftentimes trying to play the hero can make things worse, and then calling 911 at the first opportunity. Once the assailant has left, we put the center in lockdown, and we'll talk about what that is in a second. Lockdown is the more serious lockdown, where a lot of things happen to make sure that we're safe. Okay. I just wanted to copy a page from the emergency manual. If there is an accident, and I remember there being one at Northland, was it last year or the previous year, where a parent was in an accident? We do have a series of things that we need to go through, and that might be a time if no one's home, that you can go to the emergency manual and say, okay, what do we do? There was just an accident here. Has all of the steps in here. Check for injuries, get names of witnesses, and so on. So this has everything, all the steps. We can't go through word for word through every emergency manual page, but know that these things are in here, and the vehicle accidents in there as well. Okay. So for weather emergencies, for severe weather, we have ACHS text alerts. That's something you should be signed up for from the county. We encourage you to enroll in that. We also have and parents will be texted and called or they would be called if they decline texting. So we're really encouraging parents to be on that texting service that we have. Let's see, for a tornado, all children and parents, all children and adults go to a safe area. And where is that? In the red backpacks for a tornado. It's not outside, obviously, right? Where is it? You know where it is? Okay. And we have that for each one of the tornado safe locations. For the CHS, it's in the restroom. For Little Star, it's that basement area. North Glen, also the basement. For Rainbow, it's under tables. Sunshine is in those main hallways because there's no windows around, right? That's the biggest danger. And then for Brighton, there's a building interior stairwell. For earthquakes, even when I've experienced one, I didn't know it was one when I was in Santa Cruz, California. I think it's very unlikely we'd have it here, but if there was an earthquake, we would stay away from objects that might move or fall, and then get under a desk or a table or stand in the doorway. Not everybody in the kiddos could stand in the doorway, right? So probably the best option, get under a table if there was an earthquake. And then, of course, we would check for injuries afterwards, and let the education supervisor know what happened. Okay. For student accidents, I will defer a little bit more to the standard precautions that we're doing in a bit, but we do have procedures for that, especially if there's a more serious injury that happens. For emergency communication, of course, we call 911 and we follow the notification procedures and contact the exit if something happens. Again, for a medical emergency, I'll lean more on the standard precautions, which Leslie is doing later today. Go ahead. Okay, so for the lockout, have this cool girl on a skateboard there, and this is supposed to help you remember, because sometimes people get confused, lockout, lockdown. This skateboarder is outside, right? And she looks like trouble. Uh-oh, the skateboarder's trouble. My brother would not like that, he's a skateboarder. But. So the person is outside, she's not, doesn't look like that much trouble, but what if there was a skateboarder, going around in our playground? That might be trouble. It's not imminent danger though, right? It's just something that shouldn't really be there. So for the lock out, we'll keep that skateboarder out, and we would all come inside, right? When we come inside, do you know what we should do? Do we have to hide, or do we business as usual? Right? So lockout is one where, just remember this, the skateboarder's outside. It's a little less serious. It's not imminent danger. It's not an imminent threat. It's something where like, oh, we better come inside just in case this is bad news, right? So the perimeter is secured. Inside activities continue as normal. That's a lockout, and I'm really trying to help you using these mnemonics to remember that. The lockdown is something very serious. And what has happened in the last few years, it has changed where lockdown used to be something where it's just the intruders inside the building. But in reality, we know an intruder can be just outside the building with a gun or something. That would be just as dangerous, right? So a lockdown can happen if somebody's inside or outside the building. So it can be either of those, and we think of this as an imminent danger. It's the potential of dangerous activity is present, and we have to treat it extremely serious. So it's a major incident or threat of violence within the center, inside the center, or in relation to the center, immediately outside. So we have to take these lockdowns even more serious. So hopefully you lock that in, the lockout and lockdown, and how those are different. Okay, I'll just say it again, which is more serious and why. Again, lockdown is more imminent danger, and we think of the lockout, the skateboarder who really shouldn't be there, but it may not be as dangerous. Or if a nearby school district calls and says, 2 miles away, we're having an incident at our school. It's not really related to our school, but it's close by, so lockout means we come inside and business as usual. And again, the lockdown is something either inside or outside, associated with the center and very serious. Okay. So we can see those differences, and just take a look there. And this is the difficulty, and this is something that Ron was working on last year and done well, where a lockdown can be come inside or could be get away from the center, right? When we think about a specific center, if we think about Creekside, if there was an armed person that came into Creekside, is there anywhere that armed person really couldn't go? Probably not. It's a very small center. So we can call a lockdown to say evacuate, get out of there, go to the evacuation site, and that's the safest thing. Terrible to think about, but we really should think about those things. So again, lock it out. If somebody is armed and they're outside, you want to come inside, shut all the shutters, turn off the lights, so that person who's out of their mind, and they might want to hurt somebody, would look at our center and think nothing's going on there, I'm moving on, right? They couldn't see any lights on, they couldn't see me moving, they can't hear anything. They go to those blinds and they can kind of peek through, and they don't see anything, they just see dark and they move on. So for the lockdown, remember that. It's really something where we're trying to encourage this person just to move on. That's one lockdown way. Then there's the evacuation lockdown. If somebody's inside, calling that lockdown to get out to an evacuation site. Ron, do you have anything more to say about the lockdown part? Okay. All right. So for the lockdown steps, so we have to figure out, should we hide or flee? That's the first thing. And then inform other staff. How would we inform them? Walkie-talkies. Call 911 if merited, and then when safe, inform the administration, that is the EdSoup. The administration will inform the parents, and then we turn all the cell phones on silent, so that if somebody comes to the building, they won't hear anything. We've had a lockdown happen at North End before, and it was really great that our staff member who felt confident, to do that, did that lockdown, and we informed the parents. That brings to mind, I would ask the question, who can call a lockdown or a lockout? Anybody, anyone on staff. And it's easy to say that, right? But it would be really, it would really a tough thing to say, I'm calling this, right? Because you affect so many people. Sometimes they're reluctant. But it's the truth that we would count on you to do that. Like in Northland, that happened as well. And we were really appreciative this person did that. So these lockdowns can happen internally. Police can call our centers or call some of our staff and say, you need to go into lockdown or lockout. So it can be also be called external. Okay, next. So as I mentioned, we have our cell phones on silent. We stay where we are. The teachers bring the staff in the classroom in. We lock the door. We close the blinds. Is there any time the doors aren't locked? No, they should always be locked. But that's just reiterating that these doors should be locked. The students should be there near the wall so they're not visible. If you don't know where that is in your classroom, I encourage you to think about that. Where if somebody were to come in, and where's the place where the kiddos could be, where they're least likely to be visible by somebody outside. We turn off the lights and any monitors. We secure the red backpack. We secure the two-way radio. In case we need it, and then we make sure the students are quiet. We provide lollipops with them, and in the hopes that will help them stay quiet and make sure the person outside doesn't hear. Okay. So I just put the pictures up here to see if we can remember what are the steps for a lockdown, the first 5 steps. What do you think the phone means? Call 911, call the authorities, okay? And then why did I put the HSC picture there? Call the supervisor who let the management know. Oh, that's a beautiful family. Why would they be there? The management will text them and let them know what's going on. Now there's a cell phone with a line through it. It would need to be silent so that if somebody's near the center, they wouldn't hear anything, right? Walkie-talkies means you need to make sure that they're with us in case we need to communicate between everyone. That looks like every kind of lock known to man. What would that be? Making sure everything's locked, can't get in. The blinds, close the blinds, turn off the lights, secure the red backpack. Even if you're inside, why would you secure the backpack, you think? Okay.
If the kids need medication or something for the kids.
Your suckers are in there.
The suckers are in there? Kids might. No one reason the suckers are in there. The kids might need medication. There's the sign in there. Do you think a lockdown might ever change? Oh, lockdown, everyone come in. Could it be that somebody might walkie-talkie and say, somebody's in the center, lockdown is down, get out? You think that's possible? Okay. Would it be good to start looking for the red backpack at that moment? Probably not. Have it ready, right? Okay. All right. Next, I think this is my picture for the following. Oh no, there's the next steps. Okay. So anyone outside should enter and come in. Any in the hallway, move into the office. We don't open doors. I think that's hard to understand who we would open doors for. Only authorities, right? Stay in safe areas until the law enforcement or administrator tells you to do otherwise. So staff would receive a text message that lockdown has been lifted, and we spread the word via the walkie-talkies, and parents would receive the text message as well. Once lifted, we would proceed with the unification process. If that's an actual lockdown, we would actually want the parents to come and get them in certain circumstances. So we would start a process of making sure that they can come and get their kiddos. If we're evacuating to a location, that kind of lockdown, or to get out, we would go to the gas or bomb locations that we showed earlier, that one that's further away. Then, if we're out there, we would take a roll taken, and then we would, depending on the situation, whether inside or outside, but we'd always take roll to make sure everyone's there. The supervisor would contact the police. And they do that in August to make sure that we have a direct connection with them, so they know our presence there. And then, of course, we do the quarterly lockdown. So I know that everyone feels it's kind of a hard thing to think about, but we want to keep you safe and the kiddos safe. So Take some time, review these things in your mind so it's clear. You know, things can happen at any moment, even before the kiddos are there, even on a Friday. Right? So just be vigilant, be aware, keep things locked. Review these things when you can, so that it's fresh in your mind. We don't want anybody to be hurt. And you guys are doing a wonderful job educating the kiddos and keeping them safe. And one way of doing that is making sure this is present in your mind. For those safety monitors or alternates, you might spend a little bit more time with these things and reviewing the emergency manual and so on, so that you can lead in case everyone is kind of dysregulated because of an emergency. You know, the safety monitors and alternates should be even more confident in their abilities to let people know what we need to do. Okay. For the start of the day, Ron, do you want to cover this real quick on how this is supposed to go? The next slide is also at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we've only done the all clear except for a couple of people here. We have to do that again this year. It's in our SOPs. County wants us to do it. The county security wants us to do it. And since we do not have control over our sites at night, we don't know. There might have been activities in there at night and maybe somebody stayed in there. So what that involves, some people like to get in very early in the morning. If you're the one that wants to be in there first, you have a responsibility to, when you go in the building, to take a quick walk in the building, make sure that everything looks okay. If everything looks okay, you take the little orange cone that's by the door and you put it outside. That cone lets the second person know when they show up that it's safe to go inside the building. If the second person showing up, and this is important that you get to know what vehicle that your coworker drives, you'll all figure that out in a couple of days, and that you have the cell phone number of your coworker. So say you show up, you're the second person there, you see even my truck there, even though I may be a weirdo, don't call the cops and say there's a weirdo inside. You would call me and say, Ron, is it safe to come in? I'd answer the phone and say, yes, I'll go put the cone out. So if you call your coworker, you're waiting out in your vehicle because they haven't put the cone out, wait about 2 minutes because they may have just got there, call them on the phone. If they do not answer the phone, wait about a half a minute more, call again. If they do not answer the phone, you call 911. It's very important you always tell them whenever you call 911, tell them you're a school. They come much quicker when you tell them you're a school. Say, we have a procedure. I have a coworker inside the building and they're not answering their phone. Can you send an officer? And you wait outside for them to come and they will take care of it. So it's important that you do that each morning. And then after school starts, somebody needs to take the cone in for the rest of the day so we don't keep losing the cones. Okay. So we need to do that. If you're the last one at the end of the day, this is not the all clear, but if you're the last one, some people stay a little bit late. I know North Glen's very challenged with this because they have a lot of people come and go there. They have their charity there. If you know the people in the charity, I think you can let them in. But if somebody comes to a door somewhere, we have the audio, video cameras there. You can talk to them. If they're not a parent, I would not open that door for anybody and let them in, unless you really know who they are. So that's kind of our procedure. Any questions from anybody? Oh, very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Next up, I think you can just go. One more. Okay. We also have a required lost child policy that we have to, again, I appreciate Gabi mentioning this, is that I know we go through these every year and say, oh, why do we have to? It's because we have to, right? And so we take these occasions to review these every year in the summer to make sure everything is working well and tweak what is not. And then we present it to you every year. And the sign-in that you had, that gives us the evidence to show licensing and others that this happened. So we're required to do this, and it's also a good idea to review these things, just to try to keep it in front of mind. For the lost child procedure, let's just discuss for a moment, what preventative measures do we have in place so that children are always supervised? Think about that. What do we have in place? You can talk to the person next to you. What trainings, what policies, what SOPs? We'll have just a minute. Go ahead and talk to somebody next to you. It's okay. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. I came up with some ideas here, and maybe you guys have come up with a few more. So if we think about the trainings that we take, we have active supervision. There's two of them, one soon and then one in January. So we have two when we used to just have one. We have guidance of children 2 times as well. There's the teacher classroom management. Can you shout out what other trainings you think is related? Any others? I got them all? That's it? Okay. As far as policies, these are the ones I thought of. Writing the number of children on the whiteboard, so everyone's aware of how many children should be in there. The classroom sign in and out. The child sign in and out. 2 caregivers per classroom, the ratio. Asking for help rather than losing track. I think that's another thing, is that what we've reiterated more, mental health reasons, that if you're feeling like, I just can't handle this right now, you might not be paying as much attention as you should be. That's something we're calling and asking for help is fine, right? You guys comfortable asking for help? Yeah. And I didn't do this in conjunction with Gabby Rico, so if she has more things about this, she can. But I was trying to kind of rack my brain on all the things that help us to make sure that we don't lose kiddos. And we do a wonderful job of that. Let's see. So the SOP is the guidance of children active supervision. Then there's the classroom 30-minute count. And then we also have an SOP that's called Lost Child. So I'll go through the official procedure. It's a bit lengthy. You can go to the next one. That'd be good. So before I go through any of these, I would just say that if there was a kiddo in your classroom where you and your assistant teacher are there, and there's a kiddo missing, you're like, oh, where is, let's see, Christina? Because she's a troublemaker. Where's Christina? Where did she go? Oh, and then she's under the table, right? When we think about that happens a lot, right? Kiddos move around a lot. They might be hiding something. Would we call the parent immediately to tell them that we lost their kiddo? No. There's no reason to do that. They're still in the classroom. You only didn't see them for a moment, right? That's different. So when we think about proportional response, is that we keep track of the kiddos, we look around, they might be around the corner, or they're in the bathroom, that's fine. Like for most of the time, even if we lose track of the kiddo for a moment, that's okay. And we wouldn't have to engage any of this. What would have to happen is that if the kiddo is missing and they're out of, you don't find them anywhere in the room, right? That's a little bit more serious. Do you think if that happened, do you think the teacher should leave the room and go looking for the kiddo in the hallway on their own and just leave the assistant teacher there? No. Ratio, right? So what would you do? We call the walkie-talkie and say, I need some help, I'm going to look for this kiddo. Why would we want the teacher to do that than rather somebody else that might come help? You know the kiddo, right? They might know a little bit more about where they like to go. So we would ask for help in the classroom to maintain ratio. The teacher would leave, and that teacher suddenly, that person, the teacher, becomes the lead investigator, right? They will call the shots. So we call that staff number 1. The teacher's like, where is the kiddo? If the kiddo's sitting on the couch right outside the classroom, You say, how 30 seconds of her bring them back in. I think the question is like, all right, for that, with the kiddo being outside the classroom for 30 seconds, should we call the police about that? No, that's not proportional, right? They were in our center. They were right there, no problems. We bring them back in the classroom. So we just got to think about these things if we were thinking of a kiddo being lost. That staff one would ask for assistance, search their hallway, the building. If they're still not, we can't find the kiddo, they would ask for more assistance from more staff members that are available to search inside the building, outside the building. I think of Brighton because we have one section of that building. It's just one office area for the building. If we needed to search more of the building now, then we need more help. They would inform, say, so we're there, we inform other staff and search outside the building. If found, we can inform everyone by radio and then inform the parent to pick up if they're right there. If it gets more serious and we have to search the public building or the wider for 5 minutes and we find them, we would probably want to call the parent right away because we were not in track of them for a longer time. And then if it kept going where we couldn't find them ever, that would, of course, everyone's heart would sink. That would be a very difficult situation. But what we'd want to do is to make sure we call the authorities to have them help us find that kiddo. Okay. This clear procedure is in the SOP. If that were to happen, you probably wouldn't have a lot of time to, where's that SOP? Let me read it for 10 minutes before I start doing this. That doesn't work. So just to keep in mind, teachers. The teacher of the classroom would be in charge of finding that kiddo and thinking of proportional response, letting management know when you can, But the main thing is that we have so many things in place to make sure this doesn't happen, calling for help, keeping ratio, all the other trainings and things we have that we should be safe. So that's our lost child policy. Any questions or comments about it? Yeah.
With the school bus, can you talk to transportation, make sure that every driver signs the form?
The school bus procedure?
One driver didn't want to sign it.
The driver didn't want to sign it. Let's see. We came up with a bus procedure, and I'm not remembering exactly if they don't sign it, there's not much we can do. Does anybody else have comments? Amy?
We just wrote refuse to sign. It was just one driver that refused to sign. Okay. We just wrote it on that refuse to sign.
So it's refuse to sign. Okay. So the bus procedure is going to be another training, and a lot of people that might take the kiddo out are going to go through that training. If they don't sign, you can just write refuse to sign and initial. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen too many times. And if it does, did we talk to the school districts about it? Or?
Not at that point, because that was in the last couple of weeks of the school year. But I don't know. No, we're working on that procedure. Actually, Amy, the supervisors, and I were going to go around the centers that provide transportation based on the enrollment for the different services for special educators, and we're going to go over all those.
Okay.
So I don't think that we need to stress much about that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I have an SOP that can be altered that we will be training on. So thank you, Monica. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. We'll move on to the next thing. And again, welcome back. Next up, Gabi is going to talk about the qualification requirements and professional development.
It's number 13. Thank you.
All right, I think it's the Gabi John show this morning. I think I'm going to go, and then John's back up before our break. But okay, so next presentation is on qualification requirements and professional development. So how many of us have thought about going back to school, to getting a degree, higher teaching degree, master's degree in teaching, maybe something with family services, maybe something in health, maybe even something that's not quite related to Head Start? Couple of us? Okay. You go to the next slide. Okay, so Head Start, we have funds available, like most of you know, that you can apply to get Head Start funds. So really it's investing in your future. That's really what we need. Sorry guys, I moved the clicker. Okay, why does it matter? Again, it's the professional, it's your growth, the tuition, the investment, and Head Start, really wants to invest in you. We all do. We want everybody to grow. We want everybody to, have those additional skills. But if you're comfortable with where you're at, we also support that. If you're just comfortable with, status quo, showing up, good for you. Absolutely. We support that as well. So I'm not trying to say because you're not wanting to go to school, I'm not looking down. We're not looking down on anybody like that. So just know that where you're at, where you're comfortable, that's really what we're looking for. Okay. Who's eligible? So full-time, benefited, part-time. So I believe everybody in here is eligible. The only ones that aren't eligible that we sometimes have are the temps. So in that sense, unfortunately, we cannot supply that tuition or with the county, even the tuition reimbursement. But for all of us in here, if you guys are interested, you would be eligible. Okay, Jeff. Okay, what is covered? Sorry, I just want to say again, I know you guys heard me talk about this last time as well, last year, so this is just a review. I just realized I did this one last year too. So, okay, tuition, fees, ebooks. This is part of the county. We have to align our SOP, our Head Start, with actually the county, and so we do not reimburse or pay for textbooks, physical textbooks, unfortunately. And that is really due because you can sell those back and then you could get money. And so that's not the purpose of this. But any type of ebooks and fees, if you have lab fees, those are also covered. What are not covered though are, like I said, textbooks, meals, travels. The type of degree programs that are acceptable are anything with an educational institution. Anytime you're going for a bachelor's degree, whether that's a bachelor's of science or bachelor's of administration, your master's degree. What is not included are the professional certificates. So unfortunately, the CDAs, the certificate, those kind of certificates, those are not covered with this reimbursement. Okay, what's the fine print? Okay, the fine print is the annual limit is $2,500 for full-time. And if you're an RP3, if you're a part-time employee, it's $1,500 annually. And then the lifetime max is $12,500. So lifetime means every year, $2,500. But in your total stead with Head Start, you would only get $12,500. It is important to know that if you leave before 3 years, you are, let me back up, okay? You are required to have put in 3 years of service to Head Start. If you leave before then, whether it's a volunteer or non-volunteer, you will be required to pay back a portion. So I will divvy it up, I will allocate it out. If you leave 2 years into it, then you still owe the 1 year back. So. And then also, if you are, once you finish the course, you're required to give your transcript to your supervisor. If you receive a D, an F, or an incomplete, then you will be required to pay the full amount of tuition and fees back to the program. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, I do want to bring up that what I just went over is Head Start, okay? That is our funding. You can also choose to go through the county. And so the county reimbursement program is a true reimbursement. So Head Start, we pay for your class ahead of time. So you turn in all your paperwork, we pay for that class. Then you take the class and then you turn in your transcript. With the county, it's reimbursement. So you go ahead and if you want to go this route, you follow the county procedures. You get approved, and then after the course is complete, you receive that money back. So you get paid back. Again, they do the whole thing if you get a D, F, or they just won't pay you. They just won't reimburse you. That'll just be on you. And then with the county, you only have a 1 year commitment, and that's so if you leave voluntary or non-voluntary. And for as far as the county goes, this is that part I was talking about, is it doesn't have to be in the field of Head Start or in the current job that you're at. So if you decide you want to be an accountant, or you decide you wanted to go to finance, or whatever you want to do, go ahead and utilize the county. Just want to let you know that you cannot double dip though. So that $2,500 that I told you is the annual. That is both Head Start and county together. So you don't get 2,500 from Head Start and 2,500 from Head Start and 2,500 from county. Any questions so far? Okay. All right, so if you want to get started, you submit your request tuition form to your supervisor. Try to do it about 4 weeks in advance because we have so many approval process, so many people that have to look at it and approve it. We want to make sure that you know if you're approved before you start your class. The approval chain goes to the supervisor gives it to fiscal, and then the administrator. And then, of course, afterwards, like I talked about, you will turn in your transcripts to your supervisor. All right. Well, your turn. What courses or degrees would help you grow in your career? So now you guys can think about it. I know you guys probably already do, but give it a thought. We do have monies available with Head Start, and the county has lots of money as well. So whatever, if you choose, great, and if not, great too. Talk to your supervisor. All right, next. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thanks guys. Back to John.
Okay, open up that next PowerPoint called ACHS. I think I had opened it already. You may not be aware, but some of the things that the management does is we attend, many of us attend, a meeting in the Human Services building called ACHS. It's about data, and all the other programs that are under Human Services, they present the data and how things are going, for Child and Family Services, and all the other programs in the building. For Head Start, we basically present a few times a year, and we presented in July just to let them know how the whole year went. So we presented this July and it went really well. There were some questions we were able to answer, but I think generally I want to let you know that we represent the data that talks about how good the program is doing, how you guys are doing so well in that arena where all the managers and supervisors are, and we answer any questions they have or suggestions they have. It went really well, and like I say, I think people were very happy, and it's nice that we can do that. It's a little bit daunting, as you can imagine, supervisors, managers, Katie, everybody in the room, listening to our data and saying, and then we get to go, no, it's good, and then they're happy. So it happened in July, went really well, and I just wanted to present you the very slides that we went through. The first one is about teaching strategies goal. You can see here the blue this is from this past school year. But the blue is the fall indicator, or the fall checkpoint. The orange is winter, and the spring is the green. And what I presented to them is that where those red lines is where we had the technical service training that you guys had about how to more clearly do the objectives when you're doing the objectives. So what we can see is that after that learning, after that training, the greens you can see are generally lower than the oranges. Gabby Rico talked about this before, and that what we're interpreting this is that the teachers have learned more specifically how to do those objectives, how to score them, and so on, so that the green may seem lower there, but really what we're talking about is that you're able to do those teaching strategy goal assessment even better than before. And then we're talking about accuracy, we're talking about really getting down to the reality of where the kiddos are. So even though the green scores seem to be lower, it's also, we're very excited for that, for the future, as this training has informed you to do better with the teaching strategies goal assessment. And they were fine with that. There are, I think later on, Gabby Rico will be presenting on the school readiness goals, and might talk a little bit about TSG more. But we did present this, and they understood it, and it was good. So next is, these are our class scores, and these are the class scores for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You can see from all the way on the left, it's a bit small, but spring 2019 all the way to spring 2025. We didn't have a spring 2020 because, what was it again? There was, oh yeah, it was COVID. We all went home March 12th and we didn't come back, so we couldn't do class. But you can see generally these, the dotted line, let's start with the gray dotted line here at the bottom. The gray dotted line is 2.3, and that's for instructional support. That's the Office of Head Start competitive threshold, and that's where we should be. The solid gray line, you see it up there? It's quite a bit above 2.3, so we're doing rather well with that. So we can see it starts at 4.5 in 2019, and over here it's 4.75. So that's something that you can actually give yourselves a hand around that we're doing well there. Can you do that? Give yourself a hand. Okay. All right, so now the orange and the blue, you can see right at 5. That's the Office of Head Start. That's the threshold, and we can see the orange and the blue lines, the solid lines are well above that. 5.59 recently, 6.36, so they're well above that. There will be increases. That support threshold will be increased to 2.5, and the other one to 5. As you can see that, or is it a little higher? No, it's 5. Okay. But we're well above those lines, so we're doing well. The interesting thing to think of and to look at here is, do you see the spike there, the gray? There that goes from 4.5 to 5.38. The other one's a little bit higher. I just want to explain that I think probably what happened there. Do you remember what happened in 2021? 2021? We actually had 10 kiddos per classroom because we couldn't, that was part of the thing, and then we also had some online classrooms. And what we saw was a spike in the ability to handle the classroom during that time. So you can see the explanation of that. Presenting to all well, Katie wasn't there, but the deputy directors and so on, we were happy with this, and it all went well. Okay. Next. Here we have the Head Start attendance. The goal is 85%. When it reaches 85%, the cell turns green, and you can see there's a lot of green in there. And then we have December, January, February, where it's like, oh, there's a little bit more red there. What we did have happen is that there was an attendance plan that was put into place during that time, and you can see the greens coming back and increasing. So kudos to Leslie and Marissa and their team for putting that together and knowing that it's a multi-area activity, really, to keep those parents bringing those kids where they can. So not just family services, but also teaching and everyone else working on that. So you can see how it improved towards the end there. Our final total for the May was 84.1%, so we're almost there. So attendance is one thing where it's, again, it's a gestalt thing where everyone should be involved in encouraging the parents. The teachers have the parents' ears, the family services can work on that too, and we'll continue working on attendance. Might be of note, I've heard Leslie say this many times, and I've been aware of that too, is that preschool attendance is a difficulty across the board, school districts, us, private as well, because they get sick a lot. And the parents have soft hearts and it's like, oh, you don't really want to come, don't come. But there are some places where we can help them overcome that difficulty of attendance, and we'll continue to do that. In the human services, the deputy directors were happy with us, so we did good. Next. This is basically Head Start enrollment. We were using the 97% as the metric to say if it's green or red. Really, that's an old metric that we used when we were on a KIP to say we need to be fully enrolled. But it's all green. Basically, we had a very good year last year. It's like the FSCMs have to replace a kiddo if they leave. They have to replace them within 30 days, all the way into April, and they did so. These red ones were just at the end of like you see January for Creekside, there was 31 kiddos, not 32, and that's just because it happened at the end of the month. Let's say a kiddo might have gone out of the program, and we didn't replace them until February 5th or something like that, but that was in 30 days. So we'll probably have a different metric next year, but I think this is all good news. The hard work that they've been doing to keep us fully enrolled. So this is next year, this present year should also be just as good. Is there another one? Oh, yeah. Percentage of students with an individual education program. I would just kind of point out to the left and to the right. That first column where you see before current school year, you see Brighton Creekside 420951. That's who came to school with an IEP. And if you look at the far right, we see the total 10, 9, 3, 17, 8, 1. How did those numbers increase? Because they were identified during the school year, and you all are very aware how much work has to happen for them to be identified and how we work closely with the school district. So we can see the growth. We can see how many kiddos were identified with special needs from the beginning year to the end of the year, and how much work that entails, not only by you but by Monica and her team. So. Kudos that we're finding those kiddos that need that extra help, and we can see it. We see the total at 48 by the end of the year, and that's 16.7 of actual enrollment, and that means we're well above the 10% required. And that's a hard thing. It takes a lot, and I just want to give kudos to everyone that's involved in this, because this is also a very good metric. And we had some questions about this at the ASTAT, and we were able to, no problem, handle those questions, and everyone was satisfied with this. So just so you know, I think Human Services sees the good work we're doing. They see our data, and it's a good thing. They're thinking positively of us. Becky?
Are we fully enrolled?
Yeah, we are fully enrolled, right? Yeah, you betcha. And I think we have generally 10% on wait lists, so too as well. Yep. So that's one thing that we do, like representing our program to data at ASTAT, and just want to let you know it's going well, and keep up the good work this year. I think we're at a point where we're going to take a break. Is that right? Should we come back at 10? 10 o'clock? Okay. So it's 9:38 right now, so we have 22 minutes. We'll be back here. Of course, arrive right before 10, so we can get started right at 10. Thanks.
I think that adaptive